I came downstairs this morning to make myself a nice, hearty breakfast to go with this cigar. I love breakfast cigars when the mood strikes me. But no sooner had I opened my refrigerator and it dawned upon me that I didn't have the ingredients or enough ingredients to make a breakfast that was hearty enough to justify smoking something this strong. My concerns, as you shall soon see, were quite well founded, for this is the original La Madrina by Dapper Cigar Company, not to be confused with its shade-grown alternative doppelganger. This original La Madrina, in Robusto 5x50 form, is a monster of a full smoke. It has a Cuban seed Habano wrapper on it, straight out of Ecuador, a San Andres Mexican binder, and then a blend of fillers from Nicaraguan, Dominican Republic, and USA bred crops. All told, that means there are 5 different types of tobacco inside this cigar from 5 different countries. These tobaccos include the Oliva grown Cuban seed Habano wrapper I mentioned, a vibrant Mexican San Andres binder, as well as filler leaves from Oliva's Esteli and Jalapa regions, as well as Habano 92, which is the Dominican leaf, also an Oliva uh, product. And then there's this Pennsylvania broadleaf from the US, from Lancaster Leaf Tobacco Company, right up the road from Hershey, the town of Hershey, where Hershey bars are made, which adds to it. Step out of the shadows and into the sun, and you will see a gorgeous Habano reddish colored rosado wrapper. Very nice. It's got a little bit of a flake on down on one end of it, and there's a little rough spot on the cap, probably just from it jostling around in my humidor and a travel humidor for the last couple of weeks. But yeah, this is just a really nice looking smoke and more than appropriate for Halloween when it arrives early next week. Now, from a marketing profile standpoint, Dapper Cigar Company claims that this cigar is full and then some. It even goes as far as labeling the cigar as extra full on its website. It also markets the cigar with this death by chocolate flavor profile and dark walnuts and some black currants and all these things. And for the most part, they're right on. I smoked one the other day and was getting a lot of that. But there were also some profiles that I got out of it that aren't listed on the Dapper website, which, as you shall soon see in a moment, we will be getting into. So let's get to it, shall we? The aromatic from the wrapper of this cigar is not nearly as full smelling as the profile would have you believe on the company website. The foot, on the other hand, is chock full of intensity. There's a lot of baking spice to the cigar on the foot end, as well as a little bit of a sweet kind of dark fruit flavor or aroma, shall I say. But yeah, the wrapper is just a very nice Habano aromatic to it, and it's got a little bit of a toothy, leathery note, and again some residual sweetness, but none of those very intense flavors that you'll get out of the cigar, which can be a bit deceiving. But man, that foot, I can't get over smelling it. There's a whole ton going on down there. Whew. The cigar also feels very well built, despite its little construction issues and aesthetic problems that I've discovered on it. It feels very tightly wrapped, like the last one, and a little bit hefty in the hand for that as well. It's a lot of tobacco stuff in the cigar. It's a slow burner. And speaking of burning, as with all Dapper cigars, it is draw tested, so it is guaranteed to provide you with plenty of smoking pleasure. Cut the cap, and you're going to get a lot of different mixed spice dried fruit notes and some of that black walnut taste that they market towards you. Also a little bit on the dry, dustier, cedary end. Again, older wardrobe smells, and nothing moldy or anything, but old cedar smells. Nothing freshly milled, and oh, a little tingle already. Yeah, definitely some nicotine to this sucker. Now, even though they market it as death by chocolate, it's actually the first flavor profile that they throw up at you on the website. I don't get that nearly as much on the cold pulls. Flavor profile, though, well, we'll just have to wait and see. Introductory wise, this cigar does kick you right in the teeth with a lot of pepper, white pepper, black pepper, red pepper, even Szechuan pepper, corns, things like that. But this dies back very quickly and leaves you with lots of black walnut taste and a very dry aftertaste, very dry finish. And it's medium. It doesn't linger for too long and it's very nice. Chocolate is more of an aromatic at this point and will more than likely continue to be so throughout the first third. We'll have to see how this one transitions compared to the elastic I smoked. The discussion of strength and taste are, well, pretty much intertwined with this cigar. It's pretty much impossible to taste this cigar without feeling its strength alongside it, especially if you retrohale. This is one that even those who are accustomed to more fuller, stronger cigars may want to pace themselves with the retrohale side of the situation because it is a pretty strong smoke. But control the amount of smoke coming out of your nostrils, or don't do it whatsoever, and you will pick up on more than just strength. You'll pick up on some flavors. Again, those walnut tastes are the prominent flavor profile of this cigar, at least for me. Secondary, you can get some leather and a little bit of a chocolate in there, and definitely some earth. And there's just a very nice spice note to the cigar that isn't all the way pepper. It's just kind of like, a sun-grown tobacco sort of spice. Blend that in with a nice little dollop of nicotine, nothing out of this world, but just a little bit of a tingle, and a very clean finish, and you've got a great first third. While we are on the discussion of the first third, we make note of this ash. It developed a little bit of an uneven burn line that almost made me want to touch it up, but it cleaned itself up pretty nicely and has held pretty well. There are some flakes on it, but nothing monstrous. And man, that band just screams Halloween to me. Right in the middle of this cigar, you will likely discover a little extra topping of cocoa powder, the unsweetened kind. We're talking, baking cocoa powder, the dark stuff. So it's a little bit bitter, but it also brings out the nuttier side of the cigar, which slowly develops from walnut to this creamy cashew taste. It becomes more milky and round at this point in the cigar. And with that, as it combusts, it becomes sweeter. So you've got the bitter cocoa, the milky cashew, and that kind of sweet tobacco taste coming into play that still sits right beside all the kind of tougher, leathery, spicier notes from the first third.
What, you guys thought I wouldn't be here hanging out with you? I'm just kicking it over here in the tall grass. Yeah.
The final third of this cigar develops a little bit of a resinous taste, piney and yeah, kind of sappy, evergreen-like. Makes me think of the smell of a freshly cut Christmas wreath. And it's not super strong, but it is present. So some people might not find that pleasant. I enjoy it because it does work well with the rest of, well, what's going on inside the cigar, which includes a bready taste. It's been somewhat doughy and bready since the beginning, but that's the very, very base flavor profile of the cigar. It's the mild backbone. Now it's stepping toward the forefront, and with those resinous flavors really helps bring in some more sweetness along with a little bit of a salted bready cracker taste. It's fleeting at times and not present all the time, which can be a little confusing for the palate, but when it does pop in, it's very tasty. reverse mounted. Usually they go the other way. A little bit of a different thing there. The final third brings out some more of those dried fruit notes that you pick up on the nose before the cigar is lit, and which have been kind of missing throughout the majority of the cigar. So it's nice that they make an appearance, better late than never. And to go with them, there's a little bit of astringency. It's a mixture of a little bitterness and tartness, and from that kind of sappy pine needle like flavor profile that is still there but not as prominent. It's not the most pleasant of aftertaste, but fortunately, it's not super strong either. Now, what is strong is your retrohale. This cigar swings for the fences. It is full plus. And it does taste and smell very nice. It's very, very nutty still. So again, cashews and the walnuts are back again. And that makes the retrohale very pleasing, but whew, it does burn upstairs a good bit. It's got some strength to it. And because there's just so much flavor packed into this cigar and strength, you've got to take it slow. But because it burns so slow too, and is so beautifully filled, that's not that much of a problem now, is it? Mhm. Parting puffs aren't nearly as robust as you would think it would be at this point. It's still very full, but it's not super, super strong. Maybe that's because, well, the whole damn stick is strong throughout. So I guess that's works in its favor. It gets a little bit charry, but it also becomes a little more cocoa-ish and mocha-ish. And I like that. That's a good way to close out the cigar. But at no point in this stick did I get Death by Chocolate, which is marketed on the Dapper website. Get a little bit of cocoa here and there, but it's more of a dry baking cocoa powder flavor. The leather notes and the nutty notes are more of the star of the show with this cigar. And if you like nutty flavors in a cigar or nuts in general, you will probably enjoy that. I like this smoke for that reason, and that it burns very slow and that it did not need a touch up. There was a little bit of a scare in the first third where it started to burn unevenly, but the cigar straightened itself out and I haven't had to touch it up since. It's been a pretty flaky ash though, so there've been some flakes floating around, and the burn line has wavered consistently or inconsistently throughout its duration. It hasn't burned hot though, and the draw and smoke provided by said draw have been on point. All told, pretty good. I give it a 4 out of 5 for the construction side of things. Flavor also gets a 4 out of 5, but the retrohales bump it up a notch because they are so complex and so full and so strong, and the lingering aftertaste that is provided is very pleasing to me. That bumps it up another couple of notches. All together, with the banding and branding of it, and it's, well, a story. I mean, 5 tobaccos from 5 different countries. I mean, I don't see that all the time. Earned this cigar a really good 4.3 out of 5 rating. From a transitional standpoint, don't expect too much. It's not gonna throw you for one loop after another every third or so. It's not gonna be this massive flavor bomb toward the finish or in the start of the second third or any of that. You're just gonna have a consistent, nutty, leathery, full cigar experience, which that works for me. Hopefully it works for you too. Cheers.